You're staring at a quiet airlock. The batch already smelled like sulfur and failure. You realize the damage was done before the first bubble even moved. That's the part that hurts. Your mead can stall, reek like eggs, or finish thin and hot. You will swear it came out of nowhere. It didn't. It usually traces back to a yeast phase showing up at the wrong time. This happens because the cells got stressed right at the start. You can follow one simple rule with a real number behind it that stops most stuck ferments. You need to know how the yeast lives from the moment it hits the honey to the moment it drops out. If you miss this, you're just guessing. Before we move forward, if this makes your process clearer, please hit that like and subscribe. I post no fluff mead videos that save you time, honey, and headaches. First, let's set the clock so you aren't lost. The standard growth curve goes from lag to log, then stationary, and finally death. The tricky part is timing. In brewing, the hours could swing based on your yeast strain, pitch rate, and heat. The lag phase often sits in the first 3 to 15 hours. You should see clear activity around 8 to 16 hours. Some lab-based timelines line things up a bit differently. They see exponential activity around 24 hours and the stationary phase around 24 to 48 hours. They see a shift toward cleanup after 48 hours. This is why the 0 to 16, 16 to 48, and 48 plus clock is a rule of thumb. It's not a promise. When you pitch your yeast, you just aren't starting a process. You are dropping living cells into a new world. You're asking them to build a city and turn sugar into alcohol. If that world feels safe, the yeast does clean work. If it feels harsh, the yeast struggles. You will taste that struggle in every sip. The first stage looks like nothing. The lag phase is the quiet time when cells adjust to the sugar. There's no growth yet. It is not laziness. It is setup. The cells are taking up oxygen and gathering tools to build new life. In this window, yeast pulls in amino acids and minerals. Lag matters even when the airlock is dead quiet. Do not ask where the bubbles are. Ask if you gave the yeast any easy landing. A gentle start sets up a clean finish. In the industry, they call this the 0 to 16 hour window. Shock cells here, and you will pay for it later. Now you hit the loud part. This is the logarithmic phase, also called the log phase, or exponential growth. Cells divide fast and eat hard. You will see the colony expand and the sugar levels drop. Carbon dioxide will start to ramp up. In most cases, you can see the yeast budding. Reproduction is happening right in front of you. This is the 16 to 48 hour window where the batch is roaring. Do not worship the clock. Watch the liquid. Past that window and gravity has not moved, you have a problem. Honey is a tough home because it lacks nutrients. If the yeast runs out of building blocks while it tries to grow, it makes bad choices. It creates those smells you hate. The roaring growth does not last. The batch moves into a deceleration phase and then a stationary phase. Growth slows down because the food is gone and waste is high. The cell count hits a plateau. This is where the number of cells dying matches the number of new cells being born. In brewing, this is the 48 hours and beyond mark. The ferment slows down. The yeast gets picky. The world inside the fermenter gets much tougher. Late stage stress is where most batches pick up rough edges. This leads you into the death phase. This is when the world stays harsh. If the alcohol keeps rising and the food stays gone, the cells give up. More cells die than are replaced. Your job now is to protect the finish. Next, you will see the yeast clump together. This clumping is called flocculation. The clumps settle at the bottom of the fermenter. The industry calls this the sedimentation phase. This setting marks the end of the work. It's the white layer forming at the bottom. Do not assume the yeast is finished just because it's settling. It might just be dropping out because it's tired. Use your tools. Check the gravity. If the gravity is stable and the taste is clean, you're done. If it tastes sharp, you need more time. There's one rule that stops these disasters before they start. Most problems come from shock at the very beginning. It is a simple limit for your yeast. You call it the 18-10 rule. Never let your yeast take a temperature drop bigger than 10 Celsius or 18 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the gap between your starter and your must. Keep them close. If you slam the cells with cold, you'll ruin the lag phase. Then one drop echoes through the whole life of the batch. If you avoid that shock, you get a stronger log phase. You get a cleaner stationary phase. You stop the cells from crashing into the death phase for the wrong reasons. In the lag phase, yeast builds. In the log phase, it eats and grows fast. In the stationary phase, it levels off. In the death phase, the population drops. Finally, in the sedimentation, the yeast settles and the mead clears. One good start saves the whole story. And if you want to level up fast, click the mead video right over here. Happy mead making.